Hey guys, how's it going? Bikes and Brass back here. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the support. I'll get it out of the way now. Really hope you can like and subscribe. I've been it's been incredible, guys. Gaining so many subscribers. Finally got monetized, which is just awesome. I think 800,000 views in the last 30 days and like over 3 million minutes of watch time. So thank you so much for the support. Obviously, could not have done it without you guys. I love it. I really am glad people share the same passion I do about cars and boats and whatever. All the content on my channel, motorcycles, obviously, guns, computer builds, all that good stuff. So anyway, thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. I just wanted to do a video today talking about the process of painting my military Humvee because I want to hopefully help you if you're looking to paint a Gov Planet Humvee or really any car in general at this point, just because this was my first time ever painting a vehicle at all. And it was, I'll just tell you, it was so much, it was way more than I expected, I'll put it that way. Would I do it again? Absolutely not. And I just wanted to get into the reasons why that, you probably should not do this. It's not for the faint of heart, unless you're really, really dedicated and you're really gung-ho about it. Yeah, I bought this Humvee, like half a year ago or so. It was the military Carc paint, which is like chemical agent resistant coating or something like that. It stands for something like that. Don't quote me on it. It's a very sort of thick, dull looking camo, almost spongy, porous paint. It's odd that it's porous being chemical resistant, but the stuff is it's chalky. If you run your hand across it, you'll literally get like a chalky residue on your hands. Now, I don't know about brand new Carc paint. Mine was probably the original paint job from 2003. But the stuff is intense. When you paint it, you have to definitely wear a respirator, which I recommend wearing a respirator when you're painting anything. But you definitely have to wear a respirator because there's actually been accounts of it coating the areoli, whatever they're called. I don't know human anatomy, but the things that pick up oxygen, the areoli sacs or whatever it is on the inside of people's lungs and killing them. That's how aggressive this stuff is. So I didn't want that anymore. I'm not really into the camo look. I haven't served a day in my life in the military or the police force. God bless those of you who do. But I felt a little weird about driving around in a camoed out Humvee, being 100% civilian. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's at all considered stolen valor, but it's a little strange. It wasn't for me. I'm not big into LARPing military stuff either. Had I served, maybe I'd be a little bit different. But really, the reason I bought this thing was to take a Humvee and sort of make it into a quasi H1 that I can use as a trail rig and off-road and everything. So anyway, that's the main reason I decided to paint it. And I painted it gunmetal gray. Here's some pics of it up on the screen or some video of me painting it and stuff. I thought it turned out just completely exceeded my expectations. All I wanted was for it to not look like trash because I was painting this thing. I had never painted a vehicle, and it actually turned out pretty dang good. I would give it a C+, which, I was expecting like a D-. So I'm perfectly happy with that. It turned out amazing. So sorry for all the blabbing. Let me get into the reasons why I don't think you should do this if it's your first time painting, especially not on a Humvee. First things first, the amount of surface area on a military Humvee is way more than you might think. You might be looking at it and saying, well, that's not that much. It just has the little side rail and you have your hood and your back. That's like less than a normal car. Well, here's the thing. Since they don't have an interior, you really have to paint the inside as well, or else it's going to look kind of stupid with the inside being left camo green or desert tan or whatever it is, and the outside being cherry red or blue or whatever color you paint it. So just for continuity, you really have to paint the inside, and then if you want to go back in the future and cover the inside with carpet or with bed liner, like I'm going to do, Raptor liner, or whatever, horse stall mats, whatever you want to do, it's just going to look very, very tacky if you leave the inside the original color. So all that put together, I used about 2 gallons of paint, and it was a bear. Painting this thing inside and out was a lot. It took, in one sitting, I think I spent 3.5 hours doing it. Now, I'm an amateur painter. I'm sure a pro could have done it a lot quicker, but that kind of leads into my next point. So you may be thinking in your head, because I was naive, and this was sort of what I was picturing when I was picturing painting it, and this was sort of just a pipe dream, was you're just going to take a paint gun and cover the thing in paint, right? Absolutely wrong. Completely wrong. You have to do 3 coats of your base, and for mine, I had to do 2 thick coats of my clear, and in some places, 3 coats. It's so traumatizing to me, I can't even get the words out, right? And it could have been more or less depending on your application, your skill level, all that kind of stuff. But in essence, you're painting your Humvee 5 times. And that's why it took so long. And I had to spread it out over multiple days. There's just so much I could get into here, guys, that I every time I talk about one thing, a new thing pops into my head. So I'll just kind of give you the timeline. First, I tried to build a booth in my garage beneath my condo. I had 2 turbine yellow fans. Some of you might be familiar with those, exhausting everything out of the booth. I put plastic up all around. I thought I did a pretty good job. I actually got a video. I'll put the link below and maybe flash up a little bit on the screen. But I got a video of the quote-unquote redneck paint booth that I built. And it wasn't perfect, but I thought I did a decent job. So I went to start painting this thing gunmetal gray, just the base coat, and I got 1 light layer on, and in that time frame, I had completely smoked out my garage where it was literally foggy, like escaping from this booth, where it was just nasty. Luckily, none of the paint landed on any of my vehicles or anything like that. I made sure the neighbors got their vehicle out. It didn't leave any residue. I think because it was already dry at that point, so it was essentially just dust, but just a fog of base coat. And then worse, it got out into the hallways, the smell, and permeated all the way up into the 2nd story of my condo or my apartment complex. So it was bad enough where the neighbor I have on my phone was texting me saying, "What the heck is going on?" And I'm sure the other neighbors weren't happy. Luckily, nobody complained, believe it or not. Nobody called the cops. I didn't get kicked out of this place. Well, I owned the place, but I got very lucky there. But that was so bad. And this is going to be kind of a longer video, so just bear with me. So that's one reason. Your environment. This stuff, no matter how good of a paint booth you build, it will get out. 100%. If you do not have aggressive ventilation, which I had pretty good ventilation, I thought, the paint will get out into the surrounding. So, 1, if you're not going to just end up doing it outside like I did, you got to spend a ton of time building a really, really good paint booth. You cannot just I can't say it on YouTube, half-butt this. It's not going to work. So that's a huge investment of time. If you're going to paint it outside, you got to worry about bugs and the little cottonwood fuzzies and pieces of grass and all kinds of stuff like that. You're not going to get a perfect paint job outside. I didn't. I had multiple stuff laying in my paint. Kind of just is what it is. The second thing was the prep work to begin painting. So before I even was ever able to even spray my paint gun, I spent me and my girlfriend, in fact, spent probably 3 weeks just stripping down this Humvee. Because like I said, you got to do the inside and outside. It's not like a normal car where you can just paint the outside and remove a few trim pieces. No, you have to completely strip down the inside, remove the entire interior, remove all the carpet, the gear shift little trim or whatever it's called, the air conditioner, drain the fluid for that. The seats, every little D-ring, the gauges, the windshield, the B-pillar. Oh my gosh, there was just so much stuff. It was, the tailgate. It took forever, and these things are not like show cars when they come in. They come from, either sitting on a military base forever, which I think is the case with mine, or they were actually deployed into the desert and they brought them back home, or they were, used in training drills and stuff, depending on where you get them. So after I did all that, I had to clean the thing out, which that was a chore. That took all day. I mean, just power washing it and scrubbing it and, rubbing it down with rubbing alcohol. And that was a huge, huge chore. Just to get the inside took all day. And then I had to go do the outside. Same thing. You had to power wash and scrub and rub it down with alcohol. So that was a massive, massive undertaking. In addition to that, just the equipment to get ready to paint. Obviously, you want a respirator. That's a couple $100. You're going to need a decent paint gun. That's another couple $100. The material itself, I think, added up to like $700 or $800 for me. Now, I went with pretty expensive paint. Of course, you could just go with a normal black or something like that. And it would probably be a lot cheaper. But the clear coat and base coat added up to, a lot. All the equipment included. Oh, and then you got to get painter's tape, obviously. Plastic film to cover everything up. Probably got to get some drop cloths if you're painting somewhere where you care about the ground. Air compressor that can run it. Air lines, air fittings, moisture filters, all that kind of stuff. So easily that added up to $1,000. So learning how to use a paint gun, that takes a lot of effort. And then every time you get done painting with the paint gun, you have to completely take it apart and clean it with lacquer thinner or something like that. I recommend lacquer thinner. And then you got to learn how to put it back together. And then, even after you're done painting your entire Humvee, you have to go back and paint all the little trim pieces and the little things you pulled off that you don't want to be camo green or desert tan. After that, and let's say you're done, you completely painted the whole thing, you've painted all your trim pieces and everything, you have to put it back together. So if you didn't do a great job organizing everything, which, spoiler alert, I did not. It takes a long time to put these things back together and find the bolts and everything. I'm currently doing that. It is a job and a half, let me tell you. Whew. So the point is, there is a lot that goes into painting this Humvee. Easily allocate 2 months just to get it done. It sounds ridiculous, but it is really what it takes. And allocate $1,000, maybe $1,200, depending on what equipment you already have, whether or not you have an air compressor and stuff like that. Allocate at least $1,000, because I highly doubt you already have the paint and the air gun and everything like that. I'm just thinking, I'm at this point, I wish I would have just taken it somewhere, paid like $5,000, had them do it. I'm not even getting into the parts I had to completely redo, like the hood, because something happened and I still don't even know what, and my paint got all bubbly. I had to sand it down and completely redo it. So I think it's worth just paying, shelling out the cash, $3,000 to $5,000, get a good mid-range to upper level to your paint job. If you don't care about the paint that much, you can just go to Mako and have them do it for like $1,000, and it'll cost the same as it would literally cost you in materials. Maybe $1,500, slightly more. If you do care about it and you want a show level paint job, then it doesn't matter, because you definitely shouldn't try and do it yourself, unless you're a professional painter, of course. And then on top of all this, the health concerns of doing it yourself are enough to make me say, I will never ever do this again. Spray cans are a lot different than HVLP paint guns. Paint guns put out so much paint that it's literally a fog in the air. And I realize you have a respirator, but you're still breathing this stuff for hours. And if your respirator isn't perfectly fitted, or you take your respirator out to scratch your nose or something like that, you're going to be breathing it in. It's going to be getting in your lungs. It's really, really not good. It can cause cancer. It can cause COPD and stuff like that. Obviously, long-term exposure is going to be more dangerous than short-term exposure. But regardless, it's not good. It's poisonous. The guy, I'm not saying just pawn it off onto someone else and make them get poisoned. The difference between an amateur painter like me or you and an actual painter is they have a paint booth with superb ventilation, just sucking all the paint out instantly as they paint, all the fumes out instantly. So much more protected there. Lighting is another thing, and weather. If you're painting outside, ideally you want below 75% humidity, and you want it to be below, let's say, 75 degrees. Now, the reality of it is in Missouri and St. Louis, we always have like 90% humidity and 90 degrees this time of year. So I had to just kind of deal with it and then accept some extra orange peel and stuff like that in my clear coat. But just trying to deal with that, I can't paint in the middle of the day in direct sunlight because it'll dry instantly and look awful. So you only get a small window when the sun is setting, or if you get up early enough when the sun's rising, I guess. And you don't have direct sunlight, or you could try and build a tent or something, but that's a whole nother thing. So I hope I didn't overwhelm you guys with all these details. The point I'm trying to make is this entire process is overwhelming. It's not for the faint of heart. It is a huge, huge job. In my opinion, probably the single biggest job you can do on a vehicle. Maybe other than custom fabrication, like if you wanted to jam an LS into a Miata or something like that, other than something like that, I think this is the single biggest job you can do on a vehicle, especially a Humvee, and the single biggest time-consuming job you can do. It's a lot. All I'm saying is just don't do it. It's not worth your time. Just go take it somewhere, pay the money, have a professional do it. It'll be so much better. And this is all if it turns out okay, like it did with me. You have a chance of it turning out completely awful. And, it's like you've wasted all that time for a paint job you got to just redo anyway. And my paint job is not perfect. It's got a lot of orange peel. It's a solid 3 to 5 footer paint job. I'm going to try polishing it and hoping it turns out better. But once again, if I would have just paid someone, it probably would have been perfect. So, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hope you can take my advice on this. Let me know if you're going to paint something yourself, how it goes. I really want to hear how your experience compares to mine, or if you already have done that. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm off base here or if I'm absolutely correct. I hope you can it really helps with the algorithm. Just giving me a thumbs up there. I already said this all, but I hope you can subscribe as well. Thanks for the support, guys. I'll see you in the next one. New updates to come, really exciting stuff. I get done saying all this, and now I'm going to be spraying my own bed liner inside the interior of the Humvee. So I hope I'm not making a similar video in the future about how horrible that is. Anyway, getting new cameras, a lot of improvements for the channel. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.